Hello everybody, Brett here for another episode of TopoRanger. Today we are in York County. We are up in the town of New Market. Across the river we have Steelton. We are just downriver of Harrisburg, the capital of Pennsylvania. We got lots of planes flying overhead. There's airports all around us. And we are looking at some rock here, which I'm thinking is called the Epler limestone. And this, I think, is it. See how it has this curving features, and you see that fissure there? Now, why the Epler? What's so interesting about the Epler? This actually used to be a little quarry, I think. Well, we're interested in the Epler because it goes across the river. It goes under the river, right? And there are these interesting looking forms in the river, in the bedrock, in the limestone, in between Steelton and the other side. When you look at the aerial photography, they just pop right out at you. I don't know what these things are. I don't know what they're related to. My first question is, are they related to the mega floods? Okay, so here's Steelton. Here we are right here, okay? Water is very low today. Could be as low as 2.8. These features are right here in the bedrock. I don't know if we can get to them from this side just by walking. It's only about a half a mile from here, which is the boat launch, down to where these features are. But the deep side of the river is this side, and the shallow side is the opposite side. So what we're going to do today is we are going to hike along the low water bank of the Susquehanna, along the York side, downriver, okay? We're going to look at the outcrop. We're going to see if we can't find any interesting stuff along the base of the Epler, because I have been here before and I was looking specifically for karst features then. Found a bunch of old small quarries, didn't really find anything, but I did know from that trip that along the base here, I think there are some spots where the Epler does outcrop, maybe a 20 or 30 foot cliff, a 10-foot cliff, and we want to check out those features. Maybe we'll find some solutional features, maybe we'll find a cave, who knows. It's just kind of a general trip to kind of get an idea of what this stuff looks like at low water. And then we're going to come back and we're going to take the kayak out there to those features and we're going to look at them. But that's not today. Today is kind of like a recon trip. I do have a little experience with being in caves that are formed in the Epler, wild caves. Indian Echo Caverns, the commercial cave up there near Hummelstown, is formed in the Epler limestone. So the Epler is very cavernous. If given the right conditions, you get water, you get some relief, it will readily form caves, sinkholes, springs, classic karst stuff. Looks like we got one boat out there. Steelton is just downriver and across. Of course, we've got lots of birds here, lots of islands. It's very typical kind of terrain for the lower Susquehanna. So I talked to a local there at the boat launch and I described to him what I'm interested in. And he did say that when you're over on that side, right about there where my hand is, the river is only, you know, a foot deep, 6 inches deep. It's very shallow, it's flat bedrock, and then there are these big, they're like trenches. It's basically, imagine a cave passage and then chop it halfway and then take the top off, right? And that's what you're left with. That's what I think we're looking at, but they're big. I'll put the picture up right now. If you measure some of these things on maps, they're hundreds of feet long, 50 feet wide, and because they're deeper than the surrounding shallow bedrock, lots of bird activity here. Because they're deeper than the surrounding bedrock, they just show up as these dark shapes, right? And they look suspiciously like a cave map. In other words, if you look at these from above and you trace the outlines of them, they're very, very much looks like a cave map, which makes me think they're somehow related to karst, We've been looking for island karst, for river karst. So far, really haven't found very much at all. But I'm wondering if these are the remnants of some type of conduit or conduits that existed in this spot when the river was higher, and what's there now. Or are these forms related to the megafloods? I don't know. But we're gonna try to find out today. And this is exactly what I'm hoping for. Right here we got a 30-foot cliff, right? The fire pit. And this is definitely looking like limestone. And I definitely think this is the Epler. Now I don't know if this was blasted or if this is natural, because the railroad is right above us. I'm gonna say this is natural, unless I see a drill mark. We got lots of plane activity. And here we have, see that shape there? That's that phreatic tube shape. It's just on a very small scale. And you can see the remnants of a small conduit here. At one time, here's some more. See that? Here's one that's a little bit bigger, with a little, somebody put their little alcohol bottle there. You see that? That is perfect, yeah. And here's an even smaller one, right? So imagine the face of this rock. Let's go back, 100,000 years. Let's say it was out here and the weathering has caused that to retreat all that way, right? And also the river, right? So this would have been a void in the rock. See how that sneaks through there? Under pressure, right? So as the river rises up, right, the pressure of all that water gets pushed down into all the surrounding fractures and conduits, little, big, whatever it is, pushes that stuff under, right? And when it's flooding, that water is going to be pretty aggressive chemically as it relates to like dolomite and limestone. It's going to be able to dissolve that rock. So everything gets pushed back under, and then you get little things like this, right? Which could represent, just the very small parts of much larger systems of conduits underneath the river. Maybe, I don't know. See, that's the thing, is I don't know exactly if it's even possible, but stuff like this at river level, right? And you see this here? You see how that connects in there? And this is natural, this is not man-made, right? And I don't think this face was blasted. I think this might be the naturally weathered face, right? So imagine you just have dense networks of these little tubes everywhere, and then bigger tubes, right? I'm thinking that those weird shapes in the Epler, in the shallow riverbed, are just much larger examples of what you just saw right there. Here comes the train. I wonder if we'll be able to see it. That's not a train. That might be a maintenance vehicle. And here's some more. See those little tubes right there? And then right here you can see this is fill from the railroad. But this is might be an original. See that right there? So that's the bedding, right? So I think it would be dipping that way and striking up that way. But you can see how they're oriented here. We got some very old railroad ties up there. All right, let's keep heading downriver, which was put here by the railroad when they brought that through. And we'll see if we have any more outcrops down here. Yeah, that's the same. I suspect we're going to have more of these too. Looks like we have a canoe there. Now, is that somebody who popped up on shore to go to the bathroom or something, or is that abandoned? Let's go check it out. Oh, We got some more outcrops here. Anybody here? Hello? Oh no, that's not an outcrop. That is a that's a retaining wall. Oh hey, look, there's a tunnel there. Oh, sorry, bud. Is that your canoe there?
Yeah, how you doing?
Okay, I'm just walking up and down here. I'll leave you alone. Cool, thanks, man. All right, here we're looking at, looks to me to be some type of spring here. Probably coming out from the bedrock underneath the tracks there. If my memory serves me, there is a large area of the Epler exposed on the surface up there, and that's where the Army depot is, I think. And then once you get over here, which is Steelton, I think those are the old steel mills. Once you get over to Steelton, the outcrop basically goes that way, or maybe it's that way. I think it's that way. Basically, it goes across the river, and then it heads up into Dauphin County, up next to the Swatara Creek, and then you got all those caves there along the Swatara Creek, including Wildcat and Indian Echo. So theoretically, there could be, you know, a system of conduits up underneath the depot, if I'm correct about that, channeling water down to where it would exit as springs along the river. And here's another one. You can hear it trickling down to the rocks. There, you see that? Yeah, it's a nice little flow of water coming out there. So that's spring number 2. And that's good. We want to see that. If that is indeed coming out of the ground, that's a good, that's good. That would indicate, you know, there's flow going on underground. What a big jet. Here comes somebody in a boat. And don't slow up. Keep going. Oh, it's slowing down. Should I get I was gonna say maybe I should get out the Panasonic, but it looks like it's slowing down. All right, I'm seeing a little outcrop up there, but nothing too obvious. Let's just keep our eyes peeled. This is about a 20-foot wall. Somebody had breakfast here. It's pretty overgrown here. Man, I tell you what, it is humid today. Not super hot. I think it's in the 80s, but it's a lot more humid than it has been. I am just sweating like a hog here. It looks like we got some good water level exposures down here. Let's go check it out. My first thought when I see this is, oh, it's diabase, but I'm pretty sure we are above, well above the northernmost exposure of the diabase, which I think is would be the Hill Island exposure where the spillway is. So that's probably sandstone, but it's still a big hunk of rock to move. And here we have a very nice large exposure of the Epler. This is what I imagine it looks like over there. The specific part of the riverbed we're interested in is, I think it's right about there. Okay, I'll put the picture up again right now with a spot where I think I'm located, just for reference, so you know what we're looking at. This is probably what that shallow rock bench looks like under the water. Probably looks just like this. See, there we have little conduits, undulating surface. Yeah, look at that. You see that? Just look can see the curves. And here you can see this is going to be underwater most of the year, I would imagine. That's some nasty watercress there. I think this might be chert. It's all covered in silt though. It's like a nodule right there. That thing there, and then this right here. Can you see the curve? Right here, there's one too. Curves that way. Let's go down to this point here with the big boulders and see if we can tell if we're still on the Epler, or maybe it might be changing up here. Another one of those big transports. I don't know a lot about planes. I know the C-130s are big. I know in Russia they have the Antonovs, which are like these huge transport ships that can carry just tanks. I mean, you know, they're very, very, very powerful planes, very powerful engines. I mean, look at it's just a hulking mass. To me, it almost looks like it's just going to fall out of the sky. And a lot more cobbly here. It does look like it's still the Epler though underneath there. You see that? Cobbles. And then right here, that's the underlying bedrock popping up. And now we're looking down around the bend here. And right there is where those structures are, or those forms, whatever you want to call them. The river's not super wide at this point when the water's this low. Let's go down far enough and see if we can see an outcrop of the bedrock, and just keep tracking it till we get to the end of the Epler, because the Epler doesn't last forever. I'm not sure what it goes into from here, but I know it's right about here. This is bedrock, and it looks like we're still on it. It's all bent up. And here we are coming around the bend. Looks like we're still on it. Stuff shooting out that way, that's the bedrock. Wow, that was impressive. Just a gentle slope up to the tracks. I'm not seeing any big outcrops here, but we're still on it. Got another tunnel. I don't know if anybody's living in this one. I don't see any canoe. Oh geez. What is this? I've never seen one of these before. Anybody out there know what this is? Pipe. Is that some kind of pump, or is some kind of discharge? And there's some discharge there. I don't know what that is. The water looks clear. Could be stormwater or gray water, treated effluent. I'm starting to get the feeling that we're not on the Epler anymore. Although I'm seeing pieces of it here. I'm also seeing conglomerate. See that? That looks like conglomerate. Let's see this piece here. That's probably the Epler. So that's limestone. That's limestone. That's limestone. Let's peek around the corner here. Just having a fire there. That said navy on the outside. I'm not seeing any bedrock here. Seems like a lot of this is just fill. Now we have a train coming up the Lancaster side. So here's that pipe again. To me that water looks very clear and clean. Of course, you can't tell the chemical composition just by looking at it. Where is this coming from? This could be a stream that comes up over here and they just channeled it here to get it under the tracks or something. Why don't we scope out this situation here and see if we can go up through this tunnel and maybe find out where this water is coming from. I think that's it. I think the Epler ends right here, roughly. Again, I'm not looking at a map right now, so I can't tell you exactly, but approximately there. Again, the area we're looking at is right here. Anybody there? Anybody there? I don't want to abruptly run into somebody camped out here like I did upriver. Got to be careful sometimes. You're out here running around, you run into people. That guy was nice. He said, he introduced himself, said, hey, my name's you know, and his name, and I didn't get any weird vibes from him, but that was his canoe. So maybe we can get back up this way. We can maybe figure out where that water's coming from. This is either a road or an old boat put in, or a stream, an old streamway, right? Why else would you have this big culvert here? There's an old pumping station of some kind. I wonder if that's related to that water. Huh. Here's the thing. I don't really see any streamway, former streamway at all. There's no erosion. I think that must be wastewater, treated wastewater. Because that's what it looks like. It looks like there's a pumping station up there. Hey, look at that. Some historical graffiti. Wow. This here, HD. The lettering style, the font reminds me of the rain in the rain pothole. And look at the 37. Look how neat that is. Huh. So 1937, probably. 1837. When was this culvert built? So I wonder if there used to be a stream here and then they turned it into a treatment plant, or if there's still a stream here and it just runs over there. This definitely looks like a wastewater thing. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for this quick episode, really just a scouting episode. Got my plastic picks for the day, 2 golf balls, and a nice shiny piece of coal. So I think we did go the whole way to the end of the Epler. We got to look at some exposures of it down on the river, see what it looks like, maybe kind of infer what it might look like under the surface there. So now it's really just a question of can we get back out here with the kayak before the water goes up for the season? Who knows? Like I said before, that local I was talking to before I started filming, he was surprised at how low it was. Also got to see lots of planes, lots of interesting planes. The last one I saw on my way back up was a smaller transport, but it had 4 props on it, which was different. I think every other one we saw was jet powered. And the planes just come here. I mean, every 2 or 3 minutes, you got a big jet flying overhead because of where we're located. And this is rocky as far as the eye can see. All right, make sure you hit subscribe, ring my bell, follow me on all the platforms, and share my videos if you like them. Okay, hope you all had a good time. I know I surely did. This is Brett for TopoRanger, and I will see everyone in the next episode.